Hey, this is Dr. Clark Stevens, the founder of WildSmiles Braces. Today I'm going to show you some tips and techniques on how to bond WildSmiles. Let's get started. I'm just finishing applying the sealant material to the teeth. I like to use a color change adhesive when applying the WildSmiles braces. When you put it on the pad and then place it on the tooth, the excess squishes out and you can easily remove the excess. And then when you cure it, it disappears. It's important to get the proper amount of bonding material on the bracket pad. It's best to put the syringe right against the bracket pad and to press the plunger, and then the bonding material will spread over the pad. You can remove some of the excess and then it's ready for bonding. Now I'll place a bracket on the upper right cuspid tooth, which is, I'm going to place a soccer ball bracket on the upper right cuspid. I have a bracket gauge that will adjust the height. It's really important to use this with WildSmiles, especially if you're using a different type of bracket on each tooth, because that's the only way you can gauge the proper height of the arch wire groove. I find it easy to use an Explorer to line up the bracket with the long axis of the tooth. There's a groove in the middle of the bracket that makes it easy to place the Explorer in it, and then you know exactly where the tooth is lined up. The cuspids are really easy to bond because they have such curvature that it demands where the bracket goes by the curvature of the tooth. The lateral sometimes is tricky because, as you know, there's many different sizes of laterals. It's the one that has most often a smaller size than another tooth. So I'm putting on a flower bracket, and I will also use the bracket gauge to find the height of the arch wire groove. That looks like that's just about right, and then again I go through the long axis, make sure it's the right long axis. May I have a mirror, please? So I double check with the mirror to make sure that the tooth is in the exact mesial distal position that I'd like to have it. There's a little extra bonding material right here on the flower that I've just removed. Now I'm going to go place the star bracket on the upper right central. So now I have the star bracket placed, and you can see it's in the wrong position. So now I need to orient the slot for the incisal edge, remove some of the excess bonding material, which is really easy to see. I've just moved the lateral, so I need to move that back. It's really easy to see because it's a color change adhesive. Once again, I'll measure the distance from the incisal edge for the slot. I've lined up the long axis along the tooth, and I will look with a mirror to see where it is. It's in the correct position. I did move the lateral, so I'm going to move it back. So now I'm placing the upper left central. And this is a heart bracket. This is a really easy one to place. It's a really nice shape, and it's easy to take off the excess bonding material. And again, I will measure the incisal edge and the bracket depth. Lining up the long axis. It looks perfect. Then we have the super diamond, placing on the other lateral. Mesial distal location is good. The long axis of the tooth is correct. Now I'll measure the incisal edge. And you can measure the incisal edge as you like. Some doctors like the incisal edges to vary by a ½ millimeter or a full millimeter. And some of them like to create a smile arc. So we're set with that. And then the last bracket I'll place is the upper left cuspid. And this is a football, which has a lot of curvature to it, and sometimes it's confusing to think that exactly where does that go, because it's tipped distally, and it looks like it might not be in the exact right position, but as soon as you get it lined up on the tooth where it should be, it just goes right into place perfectly. Taking off the excess material. Making sure the inside of the ledge is right. Got a little bit too high. Move it back down. It looks right. Check again on the mesial distal. Actually fits better now that I don't have it too high. And we're set to set up bonding material. Now we're finished. I hope this has illustrated the ease of placing WildSmiles braces. You can go ahead and complete the bonding as you normally would. Thank you so much for using WildSmiles braces.